Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I've read numerous stuff by Junji Ito before, and if you have watched my channel recently, you should know by now that I have become, I wouldn't say obsessed, but more intrigued by this wonderful individual. He writes all of his mangas and he is also the artist as well. For the majority of the time, for me, his characters, even though they are really good, they aren't as fleshed out as a full-blown novel is because of the length of them, because I've only read smaller novels by him and short story collections. But his artwork is where he shines for me. He is absolutely a genius at his craft and what he does, and he does surprise you. He does introduce all these everyday occurrences and situations that we go, like going home at the end of the day and going to school and going to the shops and socializing with friends. But then he makes you feel comfortable, and then he throws something really creepy at you and unexpected that you wasn't seeing or didn't see coming rather. And that is a talent which I think that Junji Ito excels in. So I know that going into Uzumaki was a huge feat. This isn't a short story collection, this is a novel. This is over 600 pages long and it's a very intimidating book. But with that said, it was an extremely enjoyable book. So before I get into this video, let me just say my usual things, that this is going to be a spoiler-free video and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this book. And additionally, because this is a Japanese manga, there will be a high possibility that I will mispronounce some characters' names, but I have been watching booktube videos about this on YouTube, so I'll basically try my best. So this revolves around a concept of a spiral. This continuous spiraling shape that is cursing this town and driving it completely mad and turning everything upside down. And you may be wondering, well David, it's just a shape, it's just a spiral, it's not going, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It's just a shape. But this shape is incorporated in this book really well. It's either in your face, like really obvious to the reader and to the characters, but it's also in the background of several scenes. If you really look in all the panels, you will occasionally see a spiral shape in the background. So this book focuses around our main character called Kiri, who is a young girl who at the start of it is retelling her life in her small town, and how she takes us on a journey about how this spiral infected and affected her community and everybody that lived in her town. We also come across another individual who is a main character but is not as main as our main leading lady, Kiri, sorry if I mispronounced names. And this person is called Shiroshi. He is a young boy who we meet at the start, and when they meet up, because they are meeting up because they are both friends from school, but they are living in two totally different towns and they have to travel long distances to see each other. But Shiroshi has a father that lives in this town, and he just come to visit and see how his dad's doing, I suppose, and reconnects with Kiri. But he seems very skeptical, extremely skeptical about the town. He is warning Kiri about that there's something weird about this town, that there's something off about this town that only he can see. And he tries to tell her and show her what he actually means, but she can't see what the big deal is and why he's making such a fuss about things. But he is constantly telling people that, well, anyone that will listen to him, that there's something wrong with this town and community, and that the spiral is controlling people and the spiral is driving people mad. And Shiroshi's dad is extremely obsessed with this shape, and it drives him mad and insane. And when he dies, they cremate his body, and through the kind of large funnel, it sends up all his ashes and all the smoke, and it turns into a spiral shape. So anyone that sees the spiral or a form of it, it can result in several things happening. It can result in them turning completely mad and insane and being completely infatuated and afraid of this strange shape. There's even a character in this that actually cuts off the tips of her fingertips because of the spiral pattern on her fingertips. And she's also really afraid that there's other spirals within her body, and she's even more willing to cut them out, even if it means her dying and being mutilated. It also results in people being literally consumed by this spiral. It appears on their face mostly, or somewhere on their body, and it eats them from inside out until they are completely absorbed by it. I'm not sure if I can explain it right. I'll probably have some images up on the screen so you can know what I mean. It also affects Kiwi in some weird way with her hair, as there's this girl in this one chapter that is completely obsessed about having attention, and she wakes up one morning that Kiwi has all these spirals in her hair. Not sure if you can see it on the cover, but that's basically the scene, and how there are always curls and spirals in her hair, and she's completely jealous about all this attention that Kaori's getting. So one day she wakes up and she has all these spirals in her hair, but they are sentient. They can kind of like strangle their hosts, and everyone that watches all these spirals gets hypnotized and captivated. And when this doesn't go right for Kaori, and it results in Shiroshi cutting her long hair off and basically saving her life. And that's also what I actually like about this book as well, that everything that happens in this book has a consequence later on. If someone dies in this book, they stay dead for the rest of the story. And also, as another example, when Kaori has a haircut, it is stayed short throughout the rest of the story. It doesn't miraculously grow back on the next chapter. And this spiral has the ability to reanimate the dead and to turn people into snail monsters. And yes, you did hear me right. They actually form this massive shell on their back, and during a period of time they turn into a giant snail. And there's this lighthouse as well that Kiwi and her brother go to, because it's radiating all this light and they don't know what's happening. So they go to investigate, and it turns out that the spirals infested the lighthouse. There's this chapter which introduces the concepts of mosquitoes and how they, I didn't know this. I actually learned something from this book, that the only female mosquitoes apparently drink blood, and they do this to feed their babies and their young. So the spiral uses this to infest all these pregnant women are in this hospital, and that they have this insatiable desire to drink blood to feed their babies within their womb. And it's very gory and very, it's something else. There's also a scene in this story which a storm happens and it completely decimates the whole town, and because there is a twister, that is a easy way of Junji Ito to incorporate the spiral, because it's a spiral shape, or a spiral shape rather. And everyone has to survive the town being decimated and destroyed. And after the storm, Kaori and Shiroshi have to try to get on with their lives as best they can and to try to find survivors. But at the same time, the spiral has completely infested the town and cursed it, and if you make a loud noise or if you move in a very quick way, it creates a spiral or a tornado that can be very destructive. And there's these people that deliberately try to terrorize the members of this town that are still trying to survive, and they are sheltering in these abandoned little rundown shacks that are completely falling to pieces. But surprisingly, these shacks all scattered around the town are the only structures that haven't been destroyed and cannot be destroyed. So everyone goes to these and jams into them really, really tightly to try to ride out the storm. Because there are so many people within this town that want to get into these shacks, there isn't enough room, so they have to try to build onto them, like extend them, and at the end of it, it results in a spiral shape of all these shacks being connected up together. So this is a very, as I said, a very interesting and creepy story. It never gets boring. It always introduces a new element of what the spiral can do to this town and how it can drive people mad and all the different results it can actually have. And at the end, it's just a matter of Kari and Shiroshi basically trying to survive the spiral and trying to find out exactly what happens and what actually is happening and why. And I won't say what happens at the end, no spoilers here, but at the end we do kind of get an answer about why the spiral is infesting this town and curses town. But it's not set in concrete, it just gives you an idea, and it's up to the reader to fill in the blanks and try to give themselves answers. This is what Junji Ito does in his stories, is that if you want everything to be tied up in a nice little bow and every single point explained in graphic detail, then Junji Ito is probably not the author for you. He kind of gives you enough information to work on and to work with, and to grasp the story and the concepts of it, but he doesn't explain a lot to you. He only explains enough to get his point across and the story across. He leaves a lot of it opened to the reader's own imagination and what the reader thinks, okay, this is what happens after the story ended. So if you need everything to be fully explained for you, then Junji Ito or Uzumaki will probably not be your cup of tea. So I thoroughly enjoyed Uzumaki. I'm really pleased that I did get it. I got it off of eBay, and I still have currently 2, maybe 3 more Junji Ito books to read, so I'm extremely excited to get to them. If you have any other recommendations on what to read next by Junji Ito, please comment down below. And of course, because I love this story so much, I have to give it full marks, 5 out of 5 for this book. So that's it guys, that is my review for Uzumaki. Let me know what this actually means, because I'm not entirely sure, so if you know what this title means, then comment down below. I would really be interested to find out what the title means and represents. It probably means spiral if I was to make a wild guess. So let me know if you have read this book. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I remember a person that I'm subscribed to, or is subscribed to me rather, commented saying that she liked the book immensely, but the ending, it wasn't fully explained, so that's why she wasn't very happy with the ending, but overall she enjoyed it. But let me know what you thought about this book and what you think about Junji Ito as a writer slash artist. So let me know if I've maybe encouraged you and inspired you to pick this book up and give Junji Ito a chance. And I definitely wouldn't be put off by the fact that this is a manga, because this thing is huge, and yeah, you shouldn't be intimidated by this because this is brilliant. So that's all I really had to say, guys. I hope I explained myself properly. I hope I've done this book justice. I have done my best. As I said on maybe Goodreads or to one of my friends, is that to explain the plot of this book is extremely difficult because it's such a big book to begin with, and it also has loads of subplots. But hopefully I have done the book justice and explained myself properly. So with all that out of the way, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video.